Good morning, good morning. Back at it with another live for you on this Friday morning. You could be listening at another time or another day. Regardless, welcome to Ageless Energy. My name is Drew Tadia, and we work with women 40 plus. We help them increase energy, burn body fat, and balance hormones. So if that's you, you are in the right place. Today I'm going to be talking about what you guys are searching for. So I've been opened up this close on. It looks like I'm having. Just give me 2 seconds. It looks like I'm having some issues with my internet. Well, that's not enjoyable. Let's see. Okay, we're just gonna keep rolling. Hopefully, closing some applications will make a difference. Ruined my notifications, ruined my intro. Most of you know who I am and what we do anyways. We've been running for True Form Life for over 20 years, working with women to help them increase energy, burn body fat, and balance hormones. That's what we do, and that's why most people come to us. And then we work with our own supplementation as well. So some of you are new here, and some of you have been with us for a long time, which is pretty fantastic. Let's see. Oh, manufacturing wise, we work with manufacturers to design our own supplements. We don't sell other people's supplements, so that's a little bit a few reasons why we're different. And we have some exciting news coming soon that I can't really share with you. Because in the past we had wait lists and we had early announcements, and then you deal with these manufacturers that have a really hard time keeping a deadline, which is super frustrating. But I'm confident that we're getting close. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, Sheila. Looks like we have two Sandys that jumped in here. Karen's in here. Bev, good morning, Bev, and a handful of others. So this is an open Q&A. You guys are more than welcome to ask questions below in the comments. We're live. You could be watching as a podcast as well. Or sorry, could be watching. I guess you can actually watch podcasts now. Like I'm pretty sure, Spotify in particular, you can put a video on there and you can listen or watch, which is pretty cool. But happy Friday to you, Nicole. I'm happy. Certainly happy Friday's here. I feel like this week went by super quick, but definitely nice to have the weekend coming. I went on this. Good morning, Shelly. We got always nice to see our MAT members in here. Let me see, what was I going to? So for our MAT members in particular, we are starting a challenge. I'm going to put a post up about it this morning, and we're going to start a challenge on Monday. So if you're not sure who our MAT members are, those are our one-on-one clients from our Metabolism Accelerator program. Morning, Rhonda. And we got a new challenge that we're very excited about. Put a lot of time and effort into it, so I'm hoping that it's going to go over well. Often when you do these things for the first time, you never really know how it's going to go. Randall says, good morning from Lawson and I. Good morning to you. Thank you, both of you, for tuning in. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I've been doing this regular on our private, different page, on my personal page. I thought it would be fun to bust myths from Google, because I feel like a lot of times people just Google and then they find the first thing that comes up and then they just repeat it. Oh, Google said this. So I thought that's kind of a fun series I've been doing right now. But I thought in particular, I was like, I wonder what, like, we work with women over 40, like women exclusively, and then 98% of them are. And that number changes every time. 98 and 99. Almost all of our clients are 40 plus. We have a few under, but that doesn't really make a difference. It's still the same conversations of whether that's hormones, digestion, energy, burning body fat. It's all similar. Good morning, Kelly and Karina jumped in here, and Trudy. If you guys have questions, let me know. So I thought it would be fun to see what I wrote. I said, trending topics or searches for women over 40. And I was like, I wonder what women are searching for over 40. And some of these came up. So let me know if you guys have searched for this or if this is true. And let me take that. I feel like, how can I say this? Well, search engines are paid for. I don't think that that's pretty common knowledge, right? Like search engines are kind of bought and paid for. Like, and I don't mean to say that in a negative way. I mean, like, if you're paying for your Google ads, let's say, you can be at the top of the search engine, right? If you know how to write a really well-written post for SEO, like search engine optimization, that could perform better than something else people really want to know, and then you can search different browsers like Google, Safari. I use Brave. And if you search something, every one of them will offer you different information and different titles at the top, right? In whatever order. So I actually like to look at different browsers to see. And it's the same thing with like AI now. Like most people are using AI in some way or another. And if you use different AIs, depending on which company, like for example, ChatGPT is owned by Google, I'm pretty sure. So depending on who the source is, that's the information you're going to get swayed to what they want you to know. So I always think it's a good generalization to look at in different ways. Like when I do research around a product, it's months and months and months. And it's not like I just dive in, I'll lose hours and I'm like, oh, what happened to the hours? But I kind of like that. I'm still here. The joys of a shared warehouse. One day when I grow up, we'll have our own. Morning, Donna. Deanne's in here. Sherry's in here. Lorraine's in here. Welcome, everyone. I was just saying that, like, when it comes to research, I really feel like people are like, look at the top line of Google, and like, it's rarely accurate. You have to look at at least 3 or 4 sources, and then you have to understand like where those sources coming from. Like if it's let's just stir the pot here and say it's a dairy company. So a dairy company is going to write posts about why you should consume dairy and why it's good for you, right? So you have to try to find a post or information that's not specifically from a dairy company. And I don't care about dairy, it's just an example. Like, have it if you want it. I'm just saying, like, often I don't think we look at what's underlying or why people are, like, what's the reasoning? Like, why do they really want you to learn about that or know about that? In most cases, they're trying to sell you something. So I just pulled this up here for fun. So this could or could not be accurate. So let's say I said trending topics or searches for women over 40 regarding health. So osteoporosis, diabetes, heart disease, menopause, breast cancer, depression, and attitudes towards menopause. That's interesting. Which of those stand out to you guys? Could I get a comment? Could I get some comments? Good morning, Veronica. Osteoporosis is definitely a big one. I'm surprised like joint health didn't come up. Menopause. Menopause is the time when menstrual periods permanently stop, marking the end of reproduction. It typically occurs between the ages of 45 and 55, although the exact timing can vary. Menopause is actually a natural change related to a decrease in circulating blood estrogen levels. That's menopause. That's menopause for you guys. You know what's interesting? I feel like we should teach some of this stuff in school. Is that a fair statement? You know, like when you go to a doctor, I'm trying to decide how controversial I want to be this morning. If you go to school, you have to have certain expectations of what they're going to teach, right? So people are like I'm big fans of homeschooling. I know that's like, I think it's becoming more mainstream, but like still a lot of people are like, how can you say that word? But I just feel like you have a bit more control of your life or your kid's life. Like for example, you have to decide, you have to figure out like what it is that you want. So if you go, I just had this conversation with one of my clients. It's like, oh, I went to the doctor and they gave me like these meds, and I'm like, yes, that's what they do. Like that's, in most cases, like I was watching this 60s show. It was such a different world. I love the 60s, and in many different ways, but the doctor just prescribed something for like what I would say like lifestyle. It was like they drank too much and smoked too much and stayed up late. Like, okay. And then the doctor just wrote like a prescription. Like that was his job. It wasn't like a thought. Like they came in for the prescription and like didn't really necessarily need it. And he was just like, but I think that's how it is today still. Which is fine if that's what you want. But I feel like if you're going to a medical doctor, like a physician, they're going to give you medication. Like that's like in most cases. Like this, of course, there's outliers on either side, but that's what their job is. Like that's what they went to school for. So if you don't want to medication, then you don't go to that doctor. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to understand what is it that you're trying to get out. That's what I was talking about school. Like I feel like a lot of this stuff should be taught in school. Like menopause, for example, a lot of women come to us and have no idea about menopause, which is fine. We've been doing it for a long time, but I feel like that should be general knowledge because that's going to happen. Like those are changes in your body that are going to happen. But that's not necessarily like, that's not mainstream. Like whether that's, we're talking about osteoporosis, heart disease, like a huge percentage. There's four main, what's the fancy word for it? There's four main causes of death, and like heart disease is one of them. Like brain health is one of them. So if we know that, and there's more than likely, we don't like, I don't really believe in natural deaths from disease. Like, oh, you just got old. I feel like it's because of the choices that you make. But if there's four main reasons that you're probably going to pass away, maybe we learn about them and then do something to prevent them. Like I'm a big fan of brain health. Like brain health or cognitive function, mood, memory, emotions, like that. It's so important. It's everything. Well, there's so many things that are everything when it comes to your health, but instead of taking natural supplements to prevent memory loss early on, like as early as possible, like Magtin, it's incredible. It's the only magnesium that can break the blood-brain barrier. It's like, why wouldn't you take it? Right? Of course, there's knowledge and maybe finances or resources, but then you have like something like brain fuel or MCT oil, like directly improves the function of your brain. And there's very few, I would say there's very few things that can actually do that. But if we know that there's four main reasons that your health is going to be drastically decline to the extent of passing away, why aren't we focusing on those four things? Right? Like I did a whole course. It was way more hours than I wanted to dedicate to it, but I needed this certification. Nonsense. It was for, I think it was quite a bit older than not quite a bit older. It's older than our average demographic, but it was seniors and exercise and brain health. And they had pages and pages and pages of research, like documented research around the decline of your mental health with lack of exercise, or the improvement of it with exercise. And it was just so profound to me. I was like, I had no idea that exercise could improve your brain health that much, especially in older women. And I'm like, everyone should know this. Everyone should be exercising. So then like I get all passionate like when I first started, and I'm messaging everyone in my family of like, you guys should be exercising. But you can't make people exercise, right? You can't make people do anything. Like we don't come here and like try to change people's minds. I'm just here to share my perspective, and it's usually very different than mainstream. But I get coming back to what you have to go places for the answers that you want, right? You wouldn't go to school to learn about nutrition, right? Because they just do the canned food guide. That's what they teach because the government decides what the school teaches, and the government wants us to follow the canned food guide for a whole lot of controversial reasons, which I won't get into today. But then that's all your child will know about having Cheerios, right? So then you have to go somewhere else. For me to say, oh, they should teach that in school, doesn't really make sense. It's a different thing. Like, it's a different entity. If you want to teach that, if you want kids to learn that, then you teach that. You got to learn yourself, and then you teach it. Or you take them to a different institution, whether that's like Montessori or homeschool or extracurricular, like outside of that, right? It's the same thing when I was talking about with meds. Like, if you want to have medication, then you should take medication. Like, I'm not here to say that you shouldn't. I feel like we should understand that in most cases when medication enters your life, there's usually like these are like staggering statistics. If you're on one medication, the percentage of you being on 2 medications and then 3 medications just drastically increases. Like, they compound because of they're trying to, I wouldn't say mask, they're trying to treat the side effects of the first med, and then you get a second med, and to, you know, some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, I'd imagine most of you know exactly what I'm talking about, but that's the thing, is like, if you go somewhere for that thing, you wouldn't expect something else, right? So you don't go to a doctor and say, well, I was expecting some holistic cream, like magnesium gel, for example. Like, they don't know much about it. So it's the same thing of like it's the same thing when people were really excited. I've had some posts about some doctors that recommended our product, and like they approved it, and the clients that sent it in, there was like 2 or 3 different ones that looked at our protein in particular ingredients. They're like, oh yeah, this is great, you should definitely take that. So they're all excited and wrote in, and it was like I know, like, you have the fancy white coat, and doctors, at least in this generation, or maybe a little bit in our generation, I think it's probably becoming less and less, kind of like the news. But it didn't really mean that much to me, because I know how much they know about nutrition. Like, if a doctor takes a course or 2 courses on nutrition, and the rest is around like it's like the bedside manner, you know, like a lot of doctors don't have much bedside manner. They're like like sometimes rude and direct, and of course you got to take that with a grain of salt. I think this world needs doctors without question. We need surgeons, we need physicians. There's definitely a place for them. I just think you have to understand what you're going into to receive that type of help. Like, they're not schooled in nutrition unless you're going to a different type of doctor. It's not really a physician, right? They didn't take a whole lot of courses around nutrition. So for someone that I know didn't study in the field, and they're like, hey, that's good, I would suggest that they probably suggest some not so quality products, because they just don't know better. And it's nothing wrong with them, or like they're trying to do a good thing, and they're trying to do your health, like trying to improve your health. Like I said, we need them. But I think our perspective needs to change a little bit when we're trying to figure out what it is that we want. Like, what is it that you want out of a visit from whatever practitioner that you're going to. Monique says they band-aid a symptom but never get to the root cause of the disease. Yeah. That's what meant, yeah. Prevention over prescription. Love it. Good morning, Moira. Sorry I missed your comment. We used to do a lot of talk about prevention. That was kind of like my thing early on, of preventing. But that's not like super exciting. Like, people don't buy prevention. That's probably why it was really hard for us to get our business going. Well, that, and I had no idea about business. But I often talked about prevention, but in most cases, to be fair, a lot of, I would say the masses of the good majority of people don't really do much about their health until a doctor says, hey, look, you're pre-diabetic, or something really bad is going to happen to you if you don't make some serious changes in your life, and then people will come to us. And that's different in different cases, right? Like that's probably different for you guys in here watching our show in a private group, or finding a podcast like ours, which is about holistic health. Very different than what mainstream will tell you or explain to you. So like if you were to look at our demographic, that'd be probably different. There'd be more of you looking for preventative type of stuff. Otherwise, you may not be here. But there's still a percentage of people that are like almost scared into improving their health. And I don't think it's ever too late. I feel like we can regenerate cells. Like there's so many things coming down the pipeline with health in general. Like so many things. It's endless. It really is. Like I could sit down and look at this thing's not going to stop beeping. I could sit down and look at, and I am, of a few different. We're looking at a few different natural health products, and you could sit down, and you could look at like endless research of what those ingredients can do or how they can improve your health, and that, like those are just supplements. You could look at peptides, you could look at stem cells. Like obviously, there's a whole lot of controversial around Neuralink, but like, it's endless. And I think if you're really interested in improving your health, you can without question. And I don't care, like to me it doesn't matter what you've done in the past or how toxic your lifestyle could have been or how old you are or what damage you've done. Like I feel like our body was meant to heal, and in a relaxed state of being, like less stress, removal from that fight or flight state that many of us are in on a regular basis and don't even know it because that's our normal. It's really hard to heal. So you see all kinds of things coming up from different health issues on people's bodies because of their stress levels. So like the emotional stress levels, what I'm talking about. So we see stress showing up on our clients' bodies because of the stressful state they're in. We see individuals dealing with health issues because of years past, right? It wasn't like the last 3 months or 6 months or the last year or two. It was probably the last 5 years or 10 years. But that's not to say you can't make a change in your life or you can't start to improve on a cellular level. You can, without question. Like we see it on a regular basis, especially within this age group, because you could have spent the last 20, 30, 40 years in a toxic relationship or that like toxic state of being or that stressful flight or fight state. And then once that you see that start to relax a little bit, and then we see all these results coming in from everything: mood, emotions, digestion, energy, menopausal symptoms. We had someone come in that had like almost debilitating, almost makes me emotional thinking about it. Like they were in such a terrible place, and they came to us in tears, and we made some changes for them, and they're doing amazing. Like amazing. Like almost no menopausal symptoms, melting body weight. And that's like why that wasn't the tear I wiped away. Like melting body fat. Like that's why we do what we do. Because often women will come to us and they're like, I have no idea what to do. I don't even feel like I'm in my own body. Can't sleep at night sweats. I'm gaining weight. I have no energy. I can't remember anything. Like, and that's okay to understand. Like you're in a place where many women are at this age, and you can make changes. It's really the direction, I think, the direction information, because it's just not so abundant out there. It's because there's not a whole lot of money behind it. Like what else? Like what else can I say? Look at the commercials on the TV. Like those are pharmaceuticals and billions of dollars that they put into advertising. There's not billions of dollars for someone to be like, this is how you reduce your menopausal symptoms with information. Medication, much different. Even supplements, like you're not going to find most supplements on commercials because they're not patented and because they're not backed by huge companies. But the information, I wouldn't say is as abundant as it should be. You have to go and look for it. Like, you have to go and look for, like, look how small our, and we're growing, but look how small our company is, or the handful of people that are in here. And because it's hard to find, right? Because I don't have $1 billion to put into marketing, so it's easier to find. So we have hundreds or thousands of people watching and learning about this kind of stuff, which is all, again, very different. I've mentioned this in the past. Like, it's very different than mainstream stuff. You're not going to hear this on, like, the news, or you're not going to hear this on the. It's not going to be a pop up on the top of Google when you search for it. Like, you have to dig and research, and then it takes work, right? Like, I tell our clients, we have a proven path for success. Like, we'll show it to you and we'll walk you through it, but it takes work. Anyone that tells you that anything to get out of life doesn't take work is lying. It's like, I don't know another way to find any success, because, well, first of all, if you don't put in the time and effort, you don't appreciate the success you found. That's number one. And almost anything I've ever done, if it wasn't hard, it was hardly worth it. Maybe because of the appreciation. But there has to be some type of struggle. Like, for our clients, for example, if we did everything for them, like, if I came to your house and I moved your arms, let's go to the extreme, or at least stood there while you exercised, what's going to happen when I'm not there? Or you have those food things, right? Which may or may not be something we will get into in the future. But if we deliver food to your house and don't teach you how to read a grocery list, or go buy your food, or prepare that food, what happens when you're not able to, or not interested, or don't want to buy your food anymore? There has to be some type of friction. Like, there has to be some type of friction for growth. And without that friction, there's no appreciation, and there's probably no end result that you're hoping for. You know, they often say the journey is the struggle. And I feel like that with a lot of things. Like, the challenges that we go through, how can you say, is the goal? Is the excitement? Because once you get to that goal, then what? Then you set another one. So you celebrate, and then you move on. You celebrate for a very short amount of time. But if you can appreciate the challenges within or on the way, then you're always winning. Oh, this is profound. Somebody write this down. Just think about that for a second. If you are celebrating the steps to get to where you want to go, then you can't lose, because you're winning the whole time. And the thing is, like, whatever it is you're trying to achieve never ends. Right? It never ends, because once you get there, you either quit. Well, maybe it does end. You either quit and find something else to work towards, or you set something higher or further or more exciting. And what do you have to look forward to? It's the grind. It's the challenges. It's the work and effort. I feel like we need that. I really do. Like, I feel like our society has become far too soft, and, like, you can't say anything to hurt someone's feelings, and whether it's information or how you say something, or, like, we need the friction in our life to grow. It doesn't matter where it is, or where you want to be a better parent, grandparent, employee, business owner. It doesn't matter what it is. There has to be friction for you to grow. And if there's no friction, there's no growth. So what if you actually pursued the challenges? Oh, there's a thought. What if you actually pursued the challenges instead of the end goal? What if you set up the game That's your life. So you couldn't lose. So every time you set something to work towards, the goal was to work towards it, not to achieve the end of it. Oh, I don't know if that's crazy talk or what. Okay, I'm going to wrap things up here. We have Sandra's in here, Julie's in here, Teresa, Anne or Annie? Anne? Jeanette, Rhonda, Monique said, there's a time and a place, but they're overutilized. Oh, probably talking about doctors. Yeah. Anyways, I hope that was helpful. I'm going to jump off. Those of you in our map program, get excited. We have a challenge starting Monday, and we're going to start releasing information today and then throughout the weekend to get you prepped and ready to rock. That is going to be exciting, for sure. And anyone else, if you guys are looking for some help, you can certainly reach out. trueformlife.com is our website for our products and services. Otherwise, if you have any questions, just shoot them over, drop them below, or send a DM or an email. We're always around. Happy to help. Hope that conversation was useful today in some way or another. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch up with you soon. Bye, everyone. Have to find the end button. Oh, there we go.